Hey guys, it's Rich with your Monday Spot on the Pagan Perspective. This week we're talking more about media representation. This week's topic comes from Alta, who writes, does the negative portrayal of witches and witchcraft in the media affect you? Does it change the way you present yourself to outsiders of the craft? And do you wish the media could portray witches in a more neutral way, or maybe make more documentaries about witches in the real world? Now, I do have some notes, so I'm looking down at my notes. Not that I don't want to see you guys, but, well, notes. So, first thing that I have written down here, I think that the misrepresentations in pop culture really kind of affects everybody in this situation. Anybody that takes on the label of the witch is going to deal with the misrepresentations that are out there. The lasting effects of the Ouija board and the misrepresentation of the Ouija board can still be felt from movies like The Exorcist, and misrepresentations of witchcraft can be felt with the real life reenactments of shows and documentaries such as A Haunting, and the different things that come from TV shows like that. People start hearing, oh, there were evil occult practices, or there were occult practices, and they make it sound as if this was an evil deed that was done. So therefore, it misrepresents witchcraft and witches, just rolling it all into one and saying, hey, this is all alike here, and they put it in a documentary format, and people will watch it as entertainment and kind of like to get themselves a little spooked and everything. And some legitimately do have they have a yearning to know about the metaphysical without actually going out and learning about the metaphysical. They kind of take the real life reenactments from A Haunting and documentaries like that. They take those as actual education, and you can only take those with a grain of salt, because just because somebody did witchcraft in a house 10 years ago does not mean that they brought in all these spirits and everything, and that now this place is haunted and evil entities are trying to get you and all that stuff. No, that's not what that means. Evil entities are there because evil entities want to be there, not necessarily because somebody opened a door and said, hey, come on in, let's have a little fun, wreak a little havoc. No, that's not necessarily what happens. Could it happen? Possibly. Is that probably what happens whenever people are doing witchcraft that are actually knowledgeable about doing witchcraft? No. Usually not. Usually not. So, yeah, you have those people that play, and they dabble and whatnot, that don't really know what they're doing. Could they bring in something that's evil or malevolent in a way? Possibly. People that aren't educated, that just go and dabble into things that they don't understand or that they don't know, could they bring in something negative? Possibly. Should that be the focus of the majority of the haunting documentaries that are out there? No, because they're mostly not true. So you might have one or two cases, worldwide, but I don't think it's as prevalent as what many of these documentaries, and I keep on using air quotes, what many of these documentaries portray. As for me personally, do these misrepresentations affect me directly? I would say probably not. Many of the types of conversations that I've had where misrepresentations were there, I've pretty much corrected the people on the spot. People that know me know that I love to I love to research different religions. Whether I am a practitioner of that religion or not, I do love to research religions and try to find out, more or less what makes that religion tick. I love that aspect of a religion whenever you look at it and you say, okay, what is it that they are believing, and what is this all about, and where is the beauty in it? And usually there is a lot of beauty in religions worldwide that if you look at it and you start to examine and you start peeling away those layers, you can see the beauty and the love and the sincerity. Excuse me, the sincerity of the religion or the practitioners of that faith. So people who know me know that I like to delve into these different research topics of different religions and whatnot. So it doesn't come as a surprise to people whenever they say, oh, Halloween's for those witchy devil worshippers and whatnot. And I say, well, actually, most witches don't believe in a devil, and if they did, it probably would not be the same devil, the same Satan, as is mentioned in the Bible as Hasatan, the trickster, or the type of road blocking type of entity that many other religions have. Whenever you have a comparable of like Loki, somebody that is a trickster entity, trickster deity type of figure that it stands in somebody's way from them getting to their accomplished goal. So not the same person, and if it was, who are you to say anything about it? So I kind of like put people in their place whenever they say something like that. And I've even had one person at the co-op that I recently opened. They said that it was right before we opened back in December, and they said something about Yule and the people that are that are pagan devil worshippers and everything. And I said something similar to that, and he just looked at me. He's like, what? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, don't you know I'm an ordained minister? This is what I do. And he kind of like looked at me. He's like, really? So I love those conversations whenever I can just kind of like put people in their place, and right there, that's where you are now. So whenever I get those chances, I jump on them because they're not always so prevalent in my life, but whenever I get that chance, I jump on it, and I make sure that I try to represent every religion in the best way possible. I've seen it with a lot of people that talk about Islam and whatnot, and the whole jihad. Whenever they say, well, they're on a jihad, I said, actually a jihad is a spiritual battle, not a physical battle, and anybody that reads the Quran would know this. It's actually portrayed as the inner battle, such as the dark night of the soul type of journey that many Christians look at. So, stuff like that. I put people in their place whenever they say something like that, and I make sure that, if there isn't somebody there that can actually step up and say, this is what I believe as this type of practitioner, I, at very least, try to make that space available that people can say, okay, this is what I've heard, and I say, okay, this is what I've researched, and this is what I have found that is true or not true. And if, in fact, what you are saying is true, what I believe from my research is not true, I will apologize. However, this is my research, and this is what it has told me. So please, let's do some extra research on this. I will try to create that space of education and learning to kind of combat this whole media misrepresentation type of thing. So the last question is, do you wish that the media could portray witches in a more neutral way, or maybe make more documentaries about witches in the real world? And I have here, I would love to see positive representation in the media. I don't think it's necessarily going to change the way that outsiders see us, but I think it would be a start. And by that I mean that, you have people that are going to believe what they're going to believe no matter what. They're not going to give an inch at all in what they believe to be the truth. So, for instance, if you have people like, oh, jeez, what's that old fart that's on the 700 Club? I can't remember his name. Anyway, yeah, the old guy that says witches are terrible and blah blah blah. Move away from them, all that shit. So anyway, so this old guy will say till the cows come home that witches are evil. Doesn't matter how many times he meets an actual witch and that they are, saying, hey, we want to help, raise money to feed these poor people just like you do. Let's get together and do this. He will not think them as good people no matter what. So, Pat Robinson, that's Robinson, whatever his name is there. So, Pat will never sit there and say, okay, witchcraft, which is not that bad of a practice, kind of makes sense. He will never give any type of leeway to anybody that is pagan or witchy in any way. So he won't give in, and he won't even allow it to be entertained in his mind. So unfortunately, even if we have accurate representation out there, the only thing that we can do in some of these cases is wait for the generational turnover and for the the old farts that are a little too set in their ways and have a stick up their butt to actually die. It's unfortunate to say, but it's kind of true. And then, we're just biding our time, just waiting until the day comes whenever people are able to accept religious differences and have that religious tolerance. So with that, I think I've rambled on far too long, and I probably got a little too emotional on all this, but yeah, I think that's all that I have for this week. I will see you guys next week, and until then, may you have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye-bye.